quite frankly, he's very mad. We're going to try to find out why, so we'll take some questions at this point from our studio audience. Yes, ma'am, please stand and state your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Shay, and I'm from New Rochelle, and I just don't understand why you so mad.
Yeah.
Like, what are you so mad about?
You want to know why? First of all, you can't be asking me no question. You know what I'm saying? Look at you. You know what I'm saying? You
Mr.
can't be
Rapper,
asking me
Mr.
no
Rapper.
question. I'm going to tell you why I'm mad. You know what I'm saying?
Show.
I'm going to tell you why I'm mad.
Welcome, everyone, to the Michigan Madman Show. I am the Michigan Madman. Today, we're going to be discussing a few topics, mostly Michigan recruiting, specifically the recruiting of five-star athlete Nicholas Harbor out of Washington, D.C. In addition to that, we're also going to give a brief recap of this past weekend's game against Maryland in the Big House. To start off, let's just get right into it with the recruiting visitors Michigan had. Some of the more prominent names from this past weekend's game. Starting off with five-star athlete, like I said in the opener, Nicholas Harbor from Washington, D.C. He's a very sought-after prospect. Right now, his top schools include Michigan, South Carolina, who coming into this weekend's game, many thought had the lead for him as he recently visited their campus. And certainly South Carolina, along with LSU, would probably have the advantage over Michigan in terms of track and field. And we'll get into that in just a second. But in addition to South Carolina, I already mentioned LSU is another school, another one of his top schools. USC, which has been reported to be fading in his recruitment, but at any moment they could get back into things. And Michigan, of course, as well as the team Michigan was playing this past weekend, the Maryland Terrapins, as they're sort of a hometown school, although he plays for Archbishop Carroll, which is in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and specifically College Park, Maryland, is really in Prince George's County. Those not familiar with the area, adjacent to Washington, D.C. You can literally cross the street in places in Washington, D.C. and be in Prince George's County. But by all accounts, including E.J. Holland's account, quick shout out to E.J. Holland, follow him on Twitter. He's also a contributor to the Wolverine. But by all accounts, his visit went really well. It was really a matter of selling him on academics, which are really important to him and his family. His father and mother being Nigerian immigrants. So that is really big in that family. His father works for NASA, just to give some context, and his mother is a pharmacist. However, like I was saying, by all accounts, the visit was a successful one, which probably put Michigan on an even playing field with South Carolina, which was in the lead, as I described in the opening. While on campus, he was able to speak with University of Michigan legends Charles Woodson and Denard Robinson. This is significant for a couple reasons. We know Charles Woodson, ultimate Michigan legend, two-way player, played both offense and defense. And Nicholas wants to play offense, prefers to play offense because he wants kind of that lean muscle body, because he also wants to run track. And this goes back to the track mention that I made earlier with LSU and South Carolina probably taking the lead against Michigan in that track realm, just because they're Southern schools. Also, LSU, everyone knows LSU's history with track and field. Sha'Carri Richardson, for Pete's sake, went to LSU. So that's just like one of the names they have there. And so Denard Robinson played a huge factor in that regard, because in addition to playing quarterback for the University of Michigan, he also ran track. So that can help things in that regard, in terms of trying to, convince him that he can do both at Michigan. And like I was saying about Charles Woodson, obviously a Heisman Trophy winner, was phenomenal both on offense and defense. Really the only and last person to win the Heisman Trophy playing primarily defense. And like I said, this is huge because although Nicholas would prefer to play tight end or receiver at the next level, he's probably his upside is bigger on the defensive side of the ball as a pass rusher. He was listed as a defensive end before he was an athlete. And I believe that initially Michigan was recruiting him to be a defensive end early in that recruitment. But once things kind of shifted with his vision of himself on the next level, they obviously shifted as well, but still trying to keep that bug in his ear with people like Charles Woodson, showing him that, you can get it done on both sides. In addition to speaking with Charles Woodson and Denard Robinson, Sunday was a big day for the Harbor family as they got to speak with Jim Harbaugh, in addition to getting a better idea of the facilities and the campus and what Michigan has to offer academically. And it's in this realm where Michigan separates itself from the likes of South Carolina and LSU, because they just can't compete with Michigan academically. So this was a huge selling point for Michigan, and Michigan's really been trying to drill home the academics. And I know for some people that's kind of, cliche and not important. But for this recruitment specifically, I feel like that's a huge feather in the cap, if you will, to be able to offer something academically or offer more than other institutions academically. So, well, just keep that in mind. Hopefully, Michigan is able to land Mr. Harbor, as this recruiting class, though we do have some stars in it, like Amir Herring and Samaj Morgan, as well as Cole Cabana. It's not, it doesn't have the same cachet as recruiting classes in recent memory. So landing someone like Nicholas Harbor would go a long way to kind of changing the narrative of Michigan's 2023 recruiting class. In addition to Harbor, 5-star quarterback Bryce Underwood out of Michigan was also on campus. He's the 2025 number 1 quarterback overall and number 3 overall in the class of 2025. So having him on campus is really huge. Visited Michigan State recently, who some believe have the lead in his recruitment. So getting him on campus at Michigan was really big, especially on a weekend where Michigan State lost pretty big to Minnesota. So that's always a plus. And also 3-star interior offensive lineman Nathan Ifobi out of Cumming, Georgia, was on campus. And Michigan appears to have really knocked it out the park with Ifobi and his family. So much so that after the visit, he pretty much said that Michigan was in the lead. Michigan is in a recruiting battle with the likes of Georgia and Duke for Ifobi. He's also a 2023 recruit. I would say he's a high 3-star recruit, maybe a low 4-star. And speaking of 4-star recruits that were on campus recently, 4-star cornerback and 2023 recruit Chris Peel it appears that Michigan has made major strides in his recruitment. Michigan insider Sam Webb reported that Michigan made huge inroads there during his official visit last weekend. Not the Maryland game, but that would have been the UConn game, September 16th. Hurdles like lack of familiarity with the Michigan program and distance were addressed with he and his family, and they appear to be non-issues going forward in this recruitment. And that's really good because he's also a teammate of Michigan recruit and 5-star quarterback out of Providence Day School in North Carolina, Jayden Davis. Michigan, again, appears to be in the lead for Jayden Davis, as well as another prospect, a wide receiver prospect out of Providence Day. So getting Chris Peel would be very big in just the recruitment of those guys from Providence Day as well. So keep an eye out for that. Moving on, let's switch gears from recruitment to the actual product on the field. So we know, and it's been ballyhooed over Twitter, as well as traditional media, that Michigan's first 3 games have been against powder puff teams, if you will, right? We start off this season against Colorado State, blow them out. The next game is against Hawaii, a program that's, rebuilding, obviously. That was very lopsided and one-sided. And then we followed that up with UConn in another game that was very one-sided. And I'm never a guy that wants to, play pushovers in the non-conference. But I also think that this worked out for Michigan this year specifically, right? We lost so much in the NFL draft, and with guys leaving, we're starting obviously a new quarterback in J.J. McCarthy this year, who's won that job over Cade McNamara. So having the warm-ups, if you will, of those 3 schools was beneficial to the cause, if you will, because it gave JJ a chance to kind of ease his way into this thing and have some guys get into some roles where they're replacing very high caliber talent, right? Aiden Hutchinson was the number 2 overall pick in the draft to the Detroit Lions. David Ajabo would have been picked higher, but he went in the 2nd or 3rd round to Jim Harbaugh's brother, John Harbaugh, in the Baltimore Ravens. And those guys had double-digit sacks. Each of them had double-digit sacks last year. Aiden Hutchinson ended up being a Heisman Trophy finalist as a defensive player, solely defense. In fact, finished 2nd to Alabama's Bryce Young in Heisman Trophy voting. So replacing that production is nearly impossible from an individual standpoint, but coming together as a team and getting to kind of ease into the schedule was pretty key, I believe, this year, and it worked out. Obviously, they didn't schedule these games last year or this year, so they've been on the schedule, but it worked out to Michigan's benefit. Obviously, the game against Maryland was the first conference game, and though we started very quickly with a muffed kickoff for Maryland, and then JJ on the very next play throwing a touchdown pass to Schoonmaker, it did get a little tight for us, and there was some adversity for Michigan to overcome. And I think they did a decent job. Overall, JJ had some throws that I know he wants back. He said as much. He missed Andrew Anthony on a couple deep throws, Johnson on a couple deep throws, missed Wilson on a deep throw, and Bell, I believe, too, on a deep throw. But he also connected on a deep throw, so he kind of eased his way into it. And to their credit, Maryland really came to play, and they are also a team on the come up, and they have talent, especially at receiver and running back, freshman running back that is very good. Obviously, Talia Tagovailoa is a NFL caliber quarterback. So Maryland is a pretty decent program in a good place right now. So it wasn't like, we were playing a UConn again. And I think it was a good game. I never thought that, I never was worried in the game. However, the score was closer than the odds makers had it. So, it gives the critics something to talk about. And honestly, Michigan deserves some of the criticism. They obviously didn't play their best game. JJ didn't play his best game, but I expect them to clean those things up moving forward. This week, they'll need to clean those up because they're playing the nation's number one team in terms of scoring defense. I know some people are laughing because Iowa apparently can't score themselves, although they put up 24 or 34 points this past weekend. But I do expect, and that one is going to be at Iowa, and everyone knows Iowa is a place where top 5 teams go to die pretty much. So it's going to be a tricky game. Obviously, Michigan beat Iowa pretty big in the Big Ten Conference Championship last year, so they're going to be wanting some get back. But I do expect Michigan to win pretty comfortably. Iowa has really struggled on offense. I do expect them to play better this week as well, but I expect Michigan's offense to really be rolling and playing the number one defense, and having some success against Iowa will really go a long way in Michigan's confidence and JJ's confidence specifically. Obviously, Michigan defense showed some vulnerabilities in this past game. Not the past game necessarily, although they did give up some chunk plays against Maryland, but I think they shore that up against Iowa, and they win a pretty convincing game this upcoming week. I won't get too much into that game because I will do a follow-up video previewing the game, so look out for that. In the meantime, thank everyone for listening. If you can, please like the channel, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. I really just started the channel, so getting some support from the Michigan faithful and college football fans in general will really help the channel grow. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at @UofMMadman. We have a lot of fun on Twitter there. It's been a lot of jokes against Notre Dame fans, Ohio State fans, especially Michigan State fans, but it's all in good fun. Until next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be our best season ever. My ratings, they're about to go through the roof.
All right,
Mr. Rapper.
now I'm gonna calm down. So I'm gonna calm down,
please
son.
calm
I
down.
just don't get that all that mace
Okay.
and that lock and all
All right.
that. I just don't get it, son,
Okay,
for real.
just calm
And how
down.
the